Good afternoon, friends. Meteorologist Ashley Ruiz here in the Weather Center. It is noon right on the dot. We have the latest on Tropical Storm Cristobal, and it is expected to make landfall a little later this afternoon near Grand Isle. So Tropical Storm Cristobal, I should have said instead, is expected again to continue to move to the north at 12 miles per hour as it nears the coast of Louisiana. We're already seeing impacts along the northern Gulf Coast, seeing some storm surge issues at the Lake Pontchartrain, and then of course near the mouth of the river, and mainly where we have these storm surge warnings in effect. So the latest from the National Hurricane Center, of course this is the latest track as of 10 o'clock. They'll come out with an intermediate advisory at 1 p.m., which of course we'll bring to you right here on air and on Facebook Live and brproud.com. So to kind of show you and walk you through this, is you see that red line that goes just to the east of Baton Rouge. That is the projected center of where the center is expected to pass on through. So the current forecast shows that the center of the storm is likely to pass to the east of Baton Rouge, as you can see right here. Where you're seeing that red line, again, that is where the center is expected to move through. However, we'll still feel impacts well from the center, and I just kind of want to stress that it still can wobble within this forecast cone. And if it does take this exact path that you see on the screen, then our impacts here in the Baton Rouge metro will be significantly less. The worst impacts are expected to be along and east of I-55, and that would be to the east of the storm. And in fact, impacts are going to be felt, and they'll continuously be felt well to the east of the center, all the way to the Florida Panhandle and in South Mississippi and in South Alabama. In fact, that's where we're seeing some of the greatest impacts as we speak, as well as in far southeast Louisiana. Already seeing some damage reports of trees down in Kenner, and then of course some storm surge issues along the coastal areas in southeast Louisiana. So our current potential impacts: rain 2 to 6 inches on average for our area. The closer you are to I-55 and east, you'll have a better shot for some significant rainfall. Locally, could see over 10 inches of rain. That's mainly from feeder bands. As for winds, we're still under that tropical storm warning until further notice, so we can still see tropical storm force winds. Sustained right now, we're looking 25 to 35 miles per hour. However, if we get some of those tropical storm winds starting to push into our area, that would be between 30 and 40, with gusts up to 50 or even 60. But the greatest wind should be, again, near the center and well to the east. Can't rule out a tornado or two, and coastal flooding will continue to be an issue of inundation of 1 to 3 feet. As you can see right now, here's a look at the Doppler radar. We're not seeing much here in the capital city, but there is that one little band, as you can see, kind of nearing I-55 as we speak. So I'm pointing it out with that green arrow if you see right there. We'll have to watch that band, and any band that does move ashore with this and then just kind of parks itself will have the potential to produce some torrential rainfall. We're not under any tornado watches or anything, but you can see in that yellow color for the Mississippi Gulf Coast and Alabama Gulf Coast, they're currently under a tornado watch. We're under a flood watch until Tuesday morning, as again we could have some flooding issues. Current winds right now, wind speeds are not too bad. This is sustained winds right now, even all across South Louisiana. We're seeing winds between 10 and 20, but higher wind gusts. You can see some wind gusts are starting to pick up. As for potential timing of this, we can continuously see bands off and on through the night. Most likely the greatest impacts here, if we do see any impacts. Again, the most significant, mainly along and east of I-55, will be this evening, late tonight, and even into portions of Monday. So we are coming to you live right here on NBC Local 33 and Fox 44, but we will continue to have more coverage and extended coverage on brproud.com and Facebook Live. So after we send you back to programming, you can just join us on brproud.com or Facebook Live, whichever one you would prefer, and be sure to stay weather aware today. So we'll send it back to programming, and again, we'll continue our coverage on brproud.com and Facebook Live. All right, now we are going to continue our coverage. So we just sent everyone back to regular programming. We were doing a cut-in over air. So I'll continue to break this down a little more in detail. We had time constraints for on air, but we can take as long as we want right here with you on Facebook and on brproud.com. So another look at some of the alerts we have in effect right now. We still have that tropical storm warning, which means tropical storm conditions are expected. Tropical storm force winds that would be in excess of 39 miles per hour or greater could see wind gusts between 40, 50, maybe up to 60, but I do think some of those 60 mile per hour wind gusts should be a little closer to 55 and east. With the current track, as I mentioned, that means that some of the greatest impacts may be to the east of Baton Rouge, and especially well to the west of, if you live west of Baton Rouge, the impacts will be significantly less as well. So just a heads up there if you're wondering, oh, well, we've barely got any rain. Well, I know, that's just how these systems work. If it travels to the east of Baton Rouge, which the forecast, the current forecast path has it moving to the east of Baton Rouge, closer to the I-55 corridor. You see that red line on your screen? That is the official track from the National Hurricane Center where the center of the storm is forecast to track toward. So it would be closer to the I-55 corridor, closer to the North Shore. That will be later this evening where some of the greatest impacts will likely occur, and even into late tonight and overnight. This is the tropical storm wind probabilities, and you can see that is upward to anywhere between 70% and around 90%. That is the probability of feeling some tropical storm force winds. Storm surge is already ongoing in these areas, already seeing reports of docks going or getting flooded. That's closer. I've seen several reports in Gulfport, closer to Biloxi as well, and even closer to the mouth of the river. Grand Isle's starting to see some flooding, and which is expected. And we have that coastal flood advisory in effect through Tuesday. That is mainly for Lake Pontchartrain and Lake Maurepas. They could see an inundation between 1 to 3 feet above dry ground, and of course with heavy rain that could lead to some flash flooding issues as well. The current river forecast right now, this is from the latest from the National Weather Service. Tangipahoa River at Robert is eventually expected to become 19.5 feet. That will occur Tuesday and Wednesday. That's with the projected rainfall amounts. Of course, that could change. So there's, as of now, no significant major flooding is expected. Not expecting any for the Tangipahoa River to enter into major flooding or major flood stage, at least not as of now. The A-meet at Denham eventually, but around 28.2 later this week. And then the Mississippi River at Baton Rouge around 38 feet. So that as of now, things look to be okay, but that is as of right now. We'll continue to let you know. But again, this is still forecast to really stay to, at least the center, to stay to the east of Baton Rouge. However, it can wobble within that cone. Let me get that one cone a little zoomed in. There you have it. And just for the folks that are just joining us, I can explain. As of now, the current forecast brings it basically near Grand Isle, up just to the west of New Orleans, and then along I-55 pushing into South Mississippi late tonight and into Monday. We'll still feel effects into Monday as well, but if it does stay on this current track, that means less impacts will be felt, still impacts, but less impacts will be felt to the west of the center, wherever it travels, and then east of the center, that's where you'll see the greatest impacts, even well to the east of the center, closer to Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida. They'll continue to see greater impacts from this, because this is a lopsided storm, not very organized whatsoever. And here's another look at the infrared satellite. And you can just see it's really just not all that organized, very asymmetrical as well. So that in turn could help us in the long run, but that is not saying we're out of the clear by any means. We're still going to see impacts here. Most likely they just won't be as significant as they will be to the east of the center. So again, winds currently are out of the northeast around 10 to 20 miles per hour sustained, and then wind gusts that are currently felt around 33 miles per hour New Orleans, 28 miles per hour in Slidell. So we're not seeing any official tropical storm force wind gusts as of right now, but that is likely to change as the day progresses. So another look at the Doppler radar, just showing some of these rain bands pushing to into our area, and we'll continue to see these rain bands off and on. They're very light right here in Baton Rouge. But here's a look at the RPM model, our in-house model. Just to I think it's overdoing it a good bit in terms of rain coverage and rain intensity, because as you saw, the radar currently doesn't look like this. But going forward, that is subject to change as it eventually does make landfall and begins to move to the northwest, most likely, and passing through our area this evening or just to the east of our area. And you see some of those reds, that is showing some of the heavier pockets, potentially heavier rain bands that could produce some flash flooding issues, and then it pinwheels off to the northwest through Monday morning, and then the heavy rain threat will start to push closer to South Mississippi. But we'll still have the threat for some heavy rain even into tomorrow, even though it will be to our northwest by then. It's still going to be pulling in some deep tropical moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. This would be on the south side of the system, but it's still pulling in some rain. So if you're wondering if we're rain free tomorrow, not likely. Then we'll start to dry out a little on Tuesday. We'll still have some moisture in place, and then a cold front will push through on Wednesday, and that should clear us out and dry us out, and we're actually looking at pretty nice weather starting Thursday and through the weekend. This is one model run, so don't take this as gospel, but this just shows potential rainfall amounts through Wednesday morning. And it's showing the heaviest of rain, again, mainly along and east of I-55, which is expected, but still we could easily pick up several inches of rainfall, especially if we get caught under one of those feeder bands. And one more thing I'll show you, the Weather Prediction Center does have our area, the BR Proud area, under a slight and moderate risk for flooding today and tonight. That pink color that you see, which includes a good portion of southeast Louisiana, the North Shore, and into the Mississippi Gulf Coast, that is a high risk for flooding. So again, that's where the heaviest of rain is expected to be, but we still have around a 20 to 50% chance for some flooding issues, flash flooding issues through today and tonight. Also on Monday, there is a slight and marginal risk for some excessive rainfall or flooding, so that will also be the case. Not just that, we are looking at the potential threat for some spin-up tornadoes. There is a slight risk for spin-up tornadoes today and tonight, so be sure you have multiple ways to receive warnings today, tonight, and on Monday. And we're all under a marginal risk for severe weather. There's no reason to be nervous or scared or anything like that. Just be sure you have multiple ways to receive warnings. Charge up those devices now before some of the winds begin to pick up. In case one method fails, you can find us on brproud.com, Facebook Live, but again, be sure to charge your phone. And now is a good time to download the BR Proud app. It is a great tool to have. You'll get push notifications if a warning has been issued for your area, any updates, any closings, if roadways are flooded or anything like that. You will have that information in the palm of your hand, and you will have the radar, and you can track Cristobal as well yourself on the app. You just go on Tracking the Tropics. Also, don't forget, if you do start to flood, your neighborhood starts to flood or anything like that, you do have a plan ready in place. It is hurricane season, so this could be a warm-up for the season, just so you can start exercising your ways to stay safe for you, your family, and your pets. And speaking of your pets, meteorologist Jasmine Lomax. She is in studio too, and of course you can't forget about your pets. So she brought her Caramel in, isn't she darling? So don't forget about your fur babies. My two guys are at home right now, and they are in safe hands. Don't worry about that. She's so sweet, and she smells my snacks on my hands. So I'm going to toss her back to you. Not literally toss. Don't worry about that. Don't forget about your fur babies, you guys. We're going to see rain and some wind. Bring those babies indoors. If you have an outside cat or you have an outdoor dog, be sure to provide some dry shelter for them in the meantime, and we'll get through this. I'll show you a look at what the 7-day is looking like before we end this Facebook Live and stream, because it's looking much better, at least by the weekend. We'll be dealing with some rain off and on, and then cold front pushes through Wednesday. It's not going to bring us major changes, but it will bring us some relief from the wet weather. So if you have any questions, type below in the Facebook Live, and I'll go back and comb through some of your questions, comments, concerns. If you have a particular question about your neighborhood, just feel free to ask. Of course, say where you're watching from, all of that. And then we'll have team coverage if we have to break into programming or anything like that. We will have another update for you from the National Hurricane Center at 1 o'clock, which you can always find the latest on the stream, on BRProud.com, Facebook Live as well, and on air. So we'll bring you the latest there, and if anything changes, we'll be sure to let you know. So stay safe, stay weather aware, and we'll see you later.